And it's patch notes time. And unfortunately, we cannot hear anyone. That's very weird. That's a bad start. Oh, there we go.
Welcome to the God of the Moon update show. We've got a jam-packed show for you
Let
guys today.
me
We've got
adjust the volume here real quick.
balance coming off of mid-season, a lot of awesome skins, and of course, the reveal of our newest god coming to the battleground, Tsukiyomi.
Okay,
And
that
here to
looks
break
good.
things down with me, I got the design team, Pawn and Clumsy. How are you guys doing?
Doing really good. Things are going well.
Yeah, pretty excited.
All right.
Yes, I am super excited
My
to
webcam is
get
super
into
dark.
this.
I
So we
unfortunately
had a
can't change
great
that much,
mid-season
but
patch last week, and we've been kind of monitoring, seeing how things have shaken
kind
out.
of what it is.
And we're ready to go ahead and talk about bonus balance, which is coming
See if I can improve it a
coming
little
out
bit.
next Tuesday on the 28th. And kind of the priority here, what we're doing with bonus balance is we're just taking a look at what our kind of top priority things for both items and gods after, taking a week to kind of look at how the meta is kind
By
of
the way, it's not
working
me breathing
with
into the mic.
mid-season. So mostly nerfs, but we got a couple buffs here. So let's go ahead and get started with Shadow Steel Shuriken. Going to be seeing a buff here, decreasing the cost and increasing the physical power on the item.
Yeah, Clumsy, you want to kick us off?
Yeah,
Interesting.
so Shadow Steel Shuriken, I mean, we brought a whole bunch of new changes for all the different hunter items, and Shadow Steel Shuriken was one of the ones that, actually could have used a little bit of tuning upwards, so it's going to be one of the few buffs that we actually do this patch, so a little bit of a cost decrease, just a little bit more incentive amongst all the different Shurikens and crit options we have, and a little bit of power bump to it too. I think with the passive we gave for it, it's going to be a little bit more viable now.
For sure. All right, let's get right into it. AJ tweeted about it yesterday, but we're going to be looking at Golden Blade next, seeing some nerfs here. We're going to be decreasing the attack speed and also decreasing the minion AoE damage on the
Oh, this could be interesting.
Yeah, so we've seen the Golden Blade discussion, especially around like in-hand assassins, Bakasur and Arachne in particular. We've reduced the cost on this, which we actually think is a really good change. This allows you to build into it much more easily, but the raw amount of clear speed that you get, as well as the stats you get to synergize with
I don't know if it'll matter.
Items, a lot of these characters really like attack speed in their build, was just too potent. So we're keeping the cost low, we're not reverting that change. Instead, we're bringing down its overall clear capability and some of the attack speed you get.
Because you're still clearing those smalls quicker than the bigs anyways.
Right along,
I don't know if it'll be
in the
enough. I have to test that.
We're going to be looking at
But it could be
Edge, a
enough.
new item with mid-season. We're going to be increasing the cost on this item from 2,400 to 2,550. Clumsy, what's going on with Serrated Edge?
Yeah,
fair change.
So there's a lot of different things going on with Serrated Edge. We're going to be starting with just a decent price chunk increase, but we also see a lot of different discussions amongst the communities and the pro scenes, touching with the Golden Blade and the different gods are going to be good with both of those items, right? We're definitely going to be keeping an eye on Serrated Edge. We have some plans in the future if things start to get a little bit too scary, but we think this is a good start for it now, and we have SPL and stuff coming up soon, so we want to see how this might play in the meta first before going too overboard.
Definitely. All right, another item that got some really big changes in mid-season, Spear of the Magus. Seeing a few nerfs here. We're going to be increasing the cost here, decreasing the duration of the passive debuff, and also increasing the internal cooldown of the passive.
Pawn,
how's Spear of the Magus shaking out with mid-season?
I mean, a lot of people are thinking it's really, really good. This is kind of part of a larger set of changes. AJ touched on a little bit when his post about like how the mid-season update was going on, where tanks are dying a little bit more, they're taking a bit more damage. So with Spear of the Magus, this was a contributor to that, as well as being powerful in its own right. So it's seeing a cost increase just to justify its overall power, and we're adding a cooldown timer component to the actual debuff. We like the debuff really encourages you to focus fire a target, but it doesn't need to have 100% uptime. So lower duration, higher cooldown, meaning that there's windows where it's not going to be up.
So it actually be enough.
All right, honestly. Moving right along. Next up on the list is Heartseeker. Going to be seeing a slight nerf here. We're just going to be decreasing the physical power by 10 on the item.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing similar pair of nerfs coming up in a second. Heartseeker, we have that percent penetration now. It's just a little bit too ubiquitous in a lot of different builds. So just a touch of power, 75 is quite a bit. 65 is still going to be quite a lot anyways. Just a small
Fair.
All right.
Not a massive
change. You mentioned it a second ago, but we're going to be looking at Soul Reaver, the magical kind of equivalent to Heartseeker, and we're doing a similar nerf. We're going to be decreasing the magical power on that item by 15.
Oh, wow.
Yep, these items are good at attacking tanks because they focus really on their either health value or like a scale of power. But they also are just too effective in general on dealing damage to everyone. If you're going to focus on killing a tick, it should come at some cost, and so that's what we're doing here.
This is technically less of a nerf, but it's actually, I don't know.
Next up,
just going below 100 feels bigger, I guess.
Guys. Typhon Spang is up first. This is more of a bug fix, but it does have some balance implications. We fixed an issue where the item was providing 10 more magical power than intended.
Yeah, I think in the description it said 70 and might have been giving 80. It's probably, you know, architect of a previous balance patch we did, but it is still a 10 power nerf, but it's going to be matched in the description now.
All right, and then next up, AJ mentioned it yesterday, but we're going to be looking at Ring of Hecate. Going to be seeing some nerfs
That's
here.
gonna be a hot
We're
nerf.
going to be, first of all, increasing the cost from 2,500 to 2,600, but we're also going to be removing the healing increase per stack on the item passive.
That's it?
Vaughn, you want to, what's going on with Ring of Hecate?
Yeah, we released it, and a lot of the mage ADCs really gravitated towards it.
It's
Freya
still gonna
probably
be
the most
good.
out of any, but all the other ones really did benefit from it as well. So we're just taking down we're increasing the cost to make it a little bit more difficult to build into, but the sustain that it brought, that raw healing increase, let you turn fights that felt unfair when you're especially facing against it. So we're just making.
Oh. Well, I'll take the opportunity to say it's not gonna be enough because the attack speed and the lifesteal values are just too good. It's just too much.
Making it. We're.
Okay. Well, that's that. Interesting. Rip. I can actually pick up there for a while because the patch notes are already up, so we can just talk a little bit about Ring of Hecate, and then we hope that things come back here. Okay. So oh god, and now they're using copyrighted music or something. Oh my god, guys, you are not doing this right. Back in whatever is happening here. Let me scroll down to it. Yeah, Ring of Hecate. It's getting a nerf. Wow, back in 5 minutes. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't really know how to handle that because I can't really throw my entire patch notes review in between that, I think. I'm not sure why they're taking 5 here. So Ring of Hecate, what I was going to say is that I think the base lifesteal, attack speed, and power values all combined are way too much. Especially the attack speed is super strong on Freya. So that's going to be a general problem, and I think that's not going to change. I think I might just roll with this. You know, we're just gonna let's see if I can get this on screen somehow. Not like that, apparently. Hi. He's gonna follow as well. Thanks for that. Let me try and fix this up, and you can skip through this if you want to. Or I'll see if I can get the second window somehow. Why is it showing me? Okay, that's not how it should be. Hold on. It's showing me a few too many windows here. Should be this one. There we go. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at this for a little bit until they're back. So Ring of Hecate is the one that just talked about. I think this is not going to be enough. Again, I think the attack speed needs to be nerfed, especially for Freya. It's just too potent in the early game because she gets so many basics off that way. And I think quite a few other mage ADCs also benefit from it too much. So just it has so much lifesteal for an item where lifesteal is just a secondary stat. So I think that needs further nerfs in itself. Oh, okay. Timing.
We noticed that those items weren't in alphabetical order, and he just wasn't having it. But we're going to pick things up and keep things going.
Okay,
yeah,
let's switch back.
Sure.
That was not 5 minutes.
We're going to pick it up where we left off with Ring of Hecate. Going to be seeing some nerfs here, increasing the cost and removing the healing from the stacks on the passive.
Yeah, targeted nerf. This item was doing a lot of really good stuff. We saw a lot of the mage ADCs really rise in prominence to with this buff, and also we expect that also push hunters down a little bit as well. So reducing the healing increase per stack, it's already a strong lifesteal item. It's already power shifting you, giving you positive power trade when trading with other people. It probably doesn't need the extra healing on top of it to really push that over the edge. So we're taking this back, and then we're going to see where Ring of Hecate falls and builds.
For sure. All right, next up on the list, we've got Warrior's Bane, the T2 version of Titan's Bane. We fixed an issue where the item was allowing gods to gain more than 40% penetration. We removed the passive on the item and added just 10% penetration.
Oh.
Yeah, we
That
pretty
is
much
rough.
just brought that passive into the stat line like we did for Titan's Bane. And like you said as well, it's going to be a small nerf. It was 15% on the passive before. It's going to be bringing to 10%. With that cap of 40%, we wanted to make sure, it kind of fell in line.
Oh, why am I getting so many photos right now? What's
All right.
happening?
Couple more items left. Soul Eater is next on the list. We're going to be decreasing the base power of the item by 10 and also decreasing the total physical power on the evolved Soul Eater version from 40 to 35.
Yeah, Soul Eater, we've done a lot of things that kind of target different levels of sustain, especially easy to opt into sustain. Either it should come at some cost towards your overall build path or power, or it shouldn't really be there to be more conditional. Soul Eater it feels a lot better now that you actually just have the lifesteal up front. You get some ability lifesteal, but the power with that kind of pushes it over the edge. It creates too many early swing scenarios. So we're toning it back. We're going to slow it down a little bit, but you can still get the sustain if you want to opt into it.
I think it's fair. It stacks quickly
anyways.
anyways.
Items, we've got a consumable, Hand of the Gods. Seeing a buff here, we're going to be increasing the damage dealt from 170 to 200. Clumsy,
This is just a change
to kind of go in line with the past buff we did, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, we have the jungle that's now slightly tankier. So now
Hand
of the Gods,
nice.
we always wanted to make sure the Hand of the Gods plus Assassin's Blessing, specifically that interaction, would deal enough damage to clear the small harpies. And with this change, it now can again.
All right, that wraps it up for items. Let's move on to gods. And first up, we've got Bakasura. Seeing some nerfs here to Eat Minion. We're going to be decreasing the heal on the physical power scaling on that from 85% to 70%, and then also decreasing the protections gained. Bakasura just kind of took off with mid-season, huh?
Who would have thought?
Yeah, so this is a revert of a buff we did. Bakasura was struggling. We did the Golden Blade change, and then after that, we also did a buff to him. After seeing how Golden Blade's really impacted a lot of things, the itemization that's there, and the changes to jungles with the mid-season, he just probably didn't need that buff, so we're toning that back. Bakasura doesn't need that much sustain or protections now that his clear is pretty solid and he has some access to new itemization.
All right, next up we've got another assassin, Camazot, seeing a nerf here. We're going to be decreasing his base physical protections, and then on Devour, we're going to be decreasing the heal per hit. What's going on with Camazot's, Clumsy?
Oh, surprised.
Yeah, an assassin who likes to live in the soul lane. We did a lot of those different shield
Too much
changes,
sustain now, I guess.
Sustain on a lot of different gods, and a little bit preemptively, we want to make sure that Camazot's not going to be, the king of the soul lane anymore. So we're hitting a couple of his stats that make him really, easy to win that lane with. So you're going to be brawling against him a little bit more effectively now with the heal being decreased and the physical protections being lower.
Yep.
All right, next up, we've got Big Daddy Cthulhu, seeing some nerfs here in bonus balance. We're going to be nerfing Rushing Terror, decreasing the base damage on the dash and on the projectile on the sides, and then Sever, his ultimate ability 1, which is like the basic attack. We're going to be decreasing the base damage on that. And I'll pass it to you again, Clumsy. What's going on with Cthulhu?
Wait, why the Sever?
Well, Cthulhu released, and he's pretty powerful. We've done a couple of nerfs back-to-back. We hit a couple of problem points. In his ultimate, he can no longer
I'm sorry
use
about the notifications.
But even since then, he's still
I don't know why there's so many.
Turning to be a little bit stronger. We're assuming we're going to see him in the SPL pretty soon. But Sever was something that was hard to escape from. He's just basically using that as his basic attacks, constant his ultimate form. We thought that was a big problem point for his ulti and his potency there. So small decrease there, especially for the early game rather than the late game, where people start catching up a little bit in protections. And then Rushing Terror, one of his actually biggest damage sources. A lot of people were asking me, in the solo lane and in other game modes, what do you want to max first? Well, I tend to max by 1, but after that, Rushing Terror actually does a lot of damage. You're mostly hitting the charge and the projectiles, especially on the minions. So together, it's a real chunk, especially if you can manage to hit the enemy god at the same time. So we're bringing some of the base damage down there, and we're going to keep our eye on him. His win rate's pretty good. It's above 50%, but it's not egregiously so.
Why is he talking about Sever then? Sever's the ability in the ultimate one.
Before maybe addressing it with some further nerfs if necessary.
That was confusing.
All right, let's move right along. We've got Raijin up next. We're going to be seeing a nerf to Percussive Storm. We're going to be decreasing the magical scaling per hit from 30% to 25%.
Yep. Especially at the higher levels of play, Raijin is a very strong pick. The ultimate is very potent in both controlling and damaging a team fight. So we're just taking some of the edge off the damage there, making sure that Raijin is comparable to other high-level choices for mages.
All right, and then last up for gods for bonus balance, Ratatosker, Acorn of Yggdrasil. We're going to be seeing a nerf to 2 of the Acorns out of the 4, Evergreen Acorn, we're going to be decreasing the physical power. And then Bristlebush Acorn, we're going to be decreasing the increased damage from Dart.
I'll let Bond cover these ones too.
Yeah, so the acorns have been really interesting. It's been really fun to watch people try Ratatosker. People have been really enjoying the acorns being brought back. We were looking at some of the stats, and we saw that Evergreen is actually the winningest acorn. At high levels of play, Thickbark can compete pretty directly with it, but Evergreen generally is the one that edges out. As Bristlebush is also the most purchased one, so people feel like that's the strongest if they feel like that one has the most oomph behind it. Rather than toning these down too severely immediately, we want to let people continue to experiment with these different acorns. There's a lot of things about Rat that change with these
I thought
acorns.
it would be more one.
So Evergreen, it had a bit higher power for the tank one. We're going to take some of the edge off there. And then Bristlebush, the Dart bonus damage, the 5% might seem small, but this affects its base, its scaling, and then obviously gets magnified when you crit. So the difference in power there gets essentially doubled when you crit. So this should take some of the power away from it and make it more comparable to the other choices. We'll see where everyone kind of like falls with Ratatosker, but for now it's really interesting to watch all the experimentation.
For sure. I've definitely been having a lot of fun with new Ratatosker and experimenting with this.
I'm just surprised they didn't just auto-ban him in
ranked.
ranked.
Up for all the bonus balance that's heading to you guys next week, but we've got a few skins that we want to show off as well. We'll kick it off with the New Moon event that started in mid-season patch. We've got another bundle headed you guys this way, and the first skin from the second bundle that we want to show off is Dragon Guard Horus, and this one is really cool. Pawn, what do you think about this one?
I love this one, and it has a tail, which for some people out there is very important.
Jeez, not this again.
Shout out
Please.
to I Love Tales if you're watching.
Please.
This one's kind of in line with the past King Arthur skin that we did, right? Where the warriors are kind of becoming giants.
It's difficult to think of you as an opponent when you look and smell like food.
Super cool. There's the model, and you guys got a hint of the voice pack there. This one is headed your way in the New Moon event, and that tail is definitely nice. I'm sure I Love Tales is pretty happy. The next one we've got up for you guys is Oblivion Ruler Persephone, and this one is kind of a darker take on her Queen of the Underlord presentation. Clumsy, this one is definitely, I think, pretty much up your alley. It's got a lot of depth for Clumsy death.
I love the, I mean,
kind of zoning out on these ones a
right,
little bit because we've already
the
pretty much seen them also.
The underworlds, and bring that the creepy. So you can see the minion in the back as well. Just,
it has no eyes. Oh my gosh, it's so creepy.
I love it.
That's
and we had, the really happy.
Soon our enemies will fall victim to a fate worse than death.
Model's looking fantastic, and yeah, like you guys were saying, that minion in the back was super creepy in the card art.
And I do know what the plants look like. They look really cool too.
Oh boy, there's some really good stuff coming in this patch.
Next up from the New Moon event, we want to show off Neon Nightmare Shivalanke, and this one's kind of been floating around in the community for a little bit. The card art kind of got data mined, and then it's been floating around. But this one looks really cool. I think the colors are super awesome, and you guys can unlock this skin by purchasing 2 bundles in the New Moon event, or if you buy all right now, you'll be able to unlock.
But I'm all about results. Let's take him down.
Quick peek at the voice pack. Clumsy, what do you think about this one?
I mean, I love the different vibe. I love this cave.
Oh, this patch is good.
Like, kind of
there's something good in there.
I think it's
even outside of Tsukuyomi.
Definitely. All right, we got one more skin headed you guys' way, and this was probably my favorite for the bonus update coming out next week. Dead Not Cupid, and of course, it wouldn't be an update show without giving a shout out to Wolf Dog Art. He's been helping us out consistently on almost on every patch basis now, and this one is super awesome.
The Band-Aid on the helmet.
I didn't even notice that. That's sick.
Super cute.
Such a fun touch.
Cool. All right, well, let's go
Try
ahead
to see if I've seen anything new here, but
the model.
Charge the death ray! You don't have death rays? Well, charge your boots and swords then!
Oh, this one's so cool. The skull floating around in the helmet. It's super awesome.
I love the jetpack. That's cool.
He's so cute. His tiny little feet crack me up every single time. But that wraps it up for all of the skins that are coming you guys' way. In the bonus update next week on Tuesday, the 28th, I believe, is the date. But we're going to move on to some community news before we head into what's coming out on August 11th. First off, we've got the Avatar the Last Airbender Battle Pass that came out last week. If you guys missed it or haven't heard about it, check out this trailer.
What? Really? I think I have to mute that again. Yeah, I'm gonna mute that just in case. I'm not sure why they're promoting that again, but you know, marketing and all. Makes sense, I guess. But boy, there's a change in this patch that I'm fairly certain was influenced by something that I said to the Olympians to bring up at the meeting. Unless it was for some odd reason already on the radar, but honestly, with how long it hasn't been, I feel like this might actually have come from what I wrote, and that is so sick, and I'm so happy right now. And it also means that a video I was working on was kind of for nothing. But I might just post that anyways. And then say it's changed now, because it might be a fun video
the Avatar, the Last
to look
Airbender
back at
Battle
it.
Pass is available now in game for 750 gems. If you guys want to get the Battle Pass, unlock skins for Merlin, Scotty, and Susanoo to play with the avatars and Zuko and practice up those bending skills, definitely do that. And if you've already got the Battle Pass, or even if you haven't purchased it yet, we've got 2 times battle points this weekend, so you guys will be able to master your bending skills twice as fast for your fight for the Fire Nation.
While everyone is on PTS.
Next up on the list that we want to talk about in the community, we've got For Fans by Fans. We've been working with them on some official merch, but they actually just dropped SMITE themed masks for you guys to check out. So if you guys need to head out to the store with everything going on,
I just want band themed masks. Like not related to SMITE, but
and
I like
for every mask that is purchased by you guys, For Fans
it's like
by
hardcore
Fans
bands,
will
deathcore bands masks. It's not. There's a few, but they're not good yet.
The Persephone
so
one is
cool.
awesome.
Like I wouldn't wear something that is
all the
just
different
too
styles and all the different masks.
big.
It's so
I like a word there or something.
Definitely. All right, and then last up for community news.
Like not implying that I would ever go with a mask.
But we've got phase
I'm
2
saying,
of the
like
SPL
that type of mask.
kicking off this weekend. We've got tons of awesome games. I know I've been fiending for some esports. But if you guys check out this schedule and be sure to visit the esports and live streams hub and game, get those votes in and get ready for Friday. We've got SPL Pro League action ready to come right to you guys. It's going to be awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some high-level games.
Yeah, it feels good for it to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while.
All right, let's get talking about what's coming out in the God of the Moon update, which is targeted for like the second week in August right now. We'll start off with Project Olympus, and the first topic is kind of been brought up back in the community.
I think it's Pon is the only one with the mic.
Talk about Jungle Fog, and I'll pass it to you, Pon, for some.
Fog.
Yeah, so
Weekend in trouble.
We added Jungle Fog into the newest Conquest map. Largely at community request, they really wanted to see the fog kind of like bring back some of the intimidation to the jungle. And there's an INI file that you can edit that actually removes it. Editing the INI file is something that you can do. We do advise that there's a risk to it. You can potentially break things, and you might have to like reset stuff. But it's something that we've allowed. But the competitive SMITE rulings have been that you actually can't edit it, as well as we feel like after looking at it and seeing some how players are using it, we also don't want that to be a general thing that players can do. So we're going to be removing it from the .ini file. So after this patch, you won't be able to actually change that jungle fog anymore. Again, we will say that if you want to edit your ini file, that is something you can do. Editing other game files is obviously not allowed, but that's just something that we're going to be removing from it. If you look at the patch notes, we'll have the full detailings on what changed, some of the background, some of our reasoning more thoroughly explained, so you can...
Oh my god, what's with that stream today? Well, I think it's fair enough, though. I mean, I guess if...
kind of see how that goes. Yeah. But it's definitely been something that has been interesting to see. We had some back and forth internally on it as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think is after we kind of examined the competitive ruling and kind of where SMITE is today, felt like in our cross world that we're kind of now having players the ability to visual game that players felt like bringing everybody on a level.
I'm not doing anything by the way.
For this one was the right step.
I'm literally just running my browser as well. I'm fairly certain that's over there.
All the feedback. We've been listening in on all the conversation, and we are look with and Team Fog, the aesthetic 8, well-looking potential to give options to bullet or lit things in.
There's more on like of that. If that's something that we want to explore in the future, we can obviously look to add that in and more.
Bit of an interesting experiment, trying to see how much we understand with like half the sentence cut off.
All right. Next up for Project Olympus, we've got a fix for the early surrender exploit in ranked, and we've been getting a lot of reports on this. Going on a quick break, guys. Sorry about that. We'll be right back.
Again, please don't play music. Okay. Oh, okay, I think it's just the default thing. It's just 5 minutes. All right, we'll just read a little bit about the about the jungle fog in between. So it's not allowed to be edited. The settings will be removed to enforce this. The fog is an artistic detail, not to be confused with fog of war. Fog of war causes guards to be become invisible at certain ranges and has never been editable by players. So it's just a visual thing. Atmospheric fog purely exists for thematic and aesthetic reasons. All of the maps in SMITE are designed with the assumption fog will be there, and many unintended things can be seen if fog is disabled. Interesting. I wonder what that would be. I wonder if like you could see like certain objectives or ability effects maybe further than planned. But yeah, adding game files for SMITE is directly against TOS. The only exception is the INI, where the fog was in. You are not allowed to edit the INI for competitive play, but that's not something the SMITE dev team made, but rather the esports team made. So I guess it's like certain visual improvements that you can, for example, do through the INI that's still allowed. SMITE dev team recommends that players do not edit the INI as it might have unexpected results, leading to crashes or other issues. At the same time, if you experience that, you can just reset your INI or like get a clean INI from someone. So it's not really that big of a deal if you have like some basic tech knowledge, I guess. However, the SMITE devs will not seek to punish or ban players who edit the INI. You can be banned for editing other game files. So that's pretty cool. So you can actually freely do anything in there at this point, which was like, there was some lack of clarity on that for a while. So yeah, nice.
Sorry about that, guys. We appreciate your patience. We're just working through a few technical issues on the back end, but sounds like we should be good to go. So we'll get right into Project Olympus. We're going to talk about early surrender voting, early surrender, and exploit that we're fixing. Pon, do you want to kind of go into what we're looking at here?
So there's a few things going on here. There's a case where players can, by changing how they disconnect and when they reconnect, early surrender out of games with no penalty. That's not really what it's intended for, as well as they were, upon looking at it to try and fix this, we found some cases where just the early surrender logic didn't feel as intuitive. So we've gone back, we've kind of reevaluated the early surrender logic, what counts as being eligible for early surrender, what counts as someone triggering early surrender, and what punishments they should have. So now it should just be a much more consistent experience, as well as take care of an exploit some people are using.
Definitely. All right, next up for Project Olympus, we're actually going to be making some lighting adjustments to the Conquest map. We're updating that across the entire map on both sides, and this is actually going to make things a little bit more brighter and warmer, as well as increase performance. So we've got some before and after
I like bright and warmer.
That we'll cycle through to you guys. Clumsy, have you had a chance to play with this new lighting across the map? What do you think?
Oh yeah, we've been testing.
It's hard to tell though.
While, and it's definitely a noticeable difference. I mean, like we said, for the new lighting is just aesthetically more appealing. It's also a little bit better for performance too. So I'm really excited for these
before again.
players to be trying this
out. Okay.
Yeah, it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
All right, let me see. Take a look at the bottom left. You like look at this gray. I think this is gonna light up. Oh yeah, it does.
Here. So you can definitely tell, especially the areas like around the fire giant.
This actually looks a lot brighter. That's gonna make a huge difference if you're close.
There's like that blue emissive coming out of the order, like,
cool.
Like water area, and that like
pay attention to
also, like,
that area. I think
it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
No, never mind. It was more the fire giant area this time.
One more here. So this is definitely looking awesome. Conquest map going to be a little bit more brighter and vibrant and warmer coming out in the next update. Next up for Project Olympus, we've got another one that's been a big community request for Jungle Practice. All voice packs are going to be available for use in Jungle Practice, so you guys will be able to go and test out the skins as well as the voice packs now.
Nice.
Yep, just a good change.
Who does that in Jungle Practice?
All right. Next up, this is another big one that people have been asking for with the Ratatoskr rework. We're actually adding back the glow to his tail for each acorn.
Most important change.
So, Pon, I will let you kind of talk about the glow and how it's going to work here.
Yeah, so Ratatoskr, when we changed him, we removed the tail glow functionality and focused on these new acorns that were like kind of following him around as more personality. But after talking about it, especially with like his card art showing off some of the tail glow, we felt like we lost some character for him, so we decided to bring it back, as well as support it on skins that previously did not support it. So now going forward, the tier 2 acorns will give him the kind of Lobby coloration. So for the default Ratatosker, that'll be the kind of blue. For the maybe the more anime skins, like the Zenko one, that'll actually be the kind of purple color that's there on him. And then once you upgrade to tier 3, the aspects of him that change and get these new emissives will change color based on the acorn. So there you can see on base Ratatosker, it functions kind of like old Ratatosker acorns used to. But this again is supported on all our skins that we've made, including the ones that are very different in how they actually handle their emissives. So definitely be on the lookout, mess around with Ratatosker, see all the different colors we came up with for these. They look really, really cool in game.
I was really excited to see that when they announced the change first, so I'm really happy they brought it in.
The next update. All right, I got one more that I kind of want to touch on. It's not necessarily Project Olympus, guys, but I do want to address a couple bugs that the community's been asking about. First one is the chat bug. We definitely are aware. We put in a potential fix with this last update that dropped last week. It seems to have helped out a little bit, but QA is still investigating, and it sounds like we may be able to make some.
It's definitely worse on PTS, so they fixed something.
For you guys in the next update for the chat
fully
bug.
fixed.
I know a lot of people have been asking about it, as well as asking about Hera and Artio. Both of those gods are temporarily disabled. We found some crashing issues with them last week. It sounds like those gods are going to be re-enabled when the God of the Moon update goes live in a couple of weeks.
There you go, guys.
You guys will be able to look forward to that. So the
Sounds
next
like a heavy
thing that we
bug
want to
to
talk
take that
about
long.
is balance that's coming out on the God of the Moon update in mid-August, and we'll start off with game modes, and we'll start with Conquest. We've got some changes to some of the jungle monsters in Conquest. We've got Gold Fury, Oni Fury, and Primal Fury, doing some adjustments to the way they channel and restart channeling their special abilities. The Pyromancer is now going to inflict a large amount of damage on AoE hits, and then Centaurs, we're going to be increasing the base damage and the scaling on the ability for the buff holder.
Yeah, so lots of changes here, largely focused on making sure that the jungle still feels like it has that kind of lethality to it. Gold Fury, Oni Fury, and Primal Fury, they were characters that they had this new channel, but you could reset it. We're just going to add some rules to make sure you can't reset it, so it's a part of the mechanic you have to deal with. Pyromancer also is getting some more damage because it felt like the aura hit wasn't as impactful. And then finally, the Centaur, the Speed Camp, you could largely kind of ignore the Spear Thrust. By increasing the damage, it will make it a bit more something that you actually have to deal with. Like the red buff, if you mess up the red buff pool, you can lose half your health pretty easily.
Yeah.
If you don't mess around with the Speed Buff Camp in the proper way, you should probably get tweaked. Or you should probably get hit.
But it's annoying because it's so annoying to kite.
All right, next up for game
like
modes,
to pull
we got to
out
change
of
the
the
duel. We're going to be making it so
corner.
in duel, First Bloods will no longer grant the gold bonus. And this is just mostly to address kind of the snowball in the mode, right, Clumsy?
Yeah, we actually got this feedback a lot from, the very invested duel players. This is something that they all kind of were proactive about. They wanted us to do. We thought, you know what? Why not? This is something that we can definitely make them happy for. Like you said, there's a lot of snowball that's going on. The First Blood allows you to not just get the gold and the XP bonus, but then you're getting a lot more XP just in the wave that they're missing during the respawn time. And I mean, if this is something that the duel players themselves are advocating for, this is something that we are ready to deliver.
Sure, if they want it, we got it. All right, let's move on to items, and then we're going to be taking a look at masks, Ponpon. So I'll before we get into all of like the nitty gritty, I'll let you kind of take it and kind of talk about what we're doing with masks.
Yeah, so masks have the different the idea that you can clash shift your character and just doing something that is unintended, right? Assassin players generally can't tank, but with the Lonos mask, you can tank. This works really well for damage and damage reduction because those are very clearly tradable stats. And so after a few nerfs, we've seen them really drop out of favor. We saw the people discussing that it felt like they were unusable even for their intended purpose. So we're going to buff Ringdas and Lonos so that you can feel a bit more powerful when you have them. One's getting a tanking increase and one's getting a small reduction in its penalty. But Bumba's was kind of a weird one. It stat shifted in a very strange way where you traded power and defense for utility. And the trade-off was often in a weird way, especially with high movement speed. We've seen what high movement speed can do with character volatility, and we didn't feel like there was a very clear path forward with the current stat spread of it. So with this patch, we'll be removing Bumba's mask. We do plan to reevaluate that kind of item and make sure that this tree has like another kind of third shift option. We just need some time to iterate on it and go through it, and we felt like it wasn't worth holding back Ringdas and Lonos for Bumba's to also try and be there.
I like Bumbas.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope they bring it back
As
somehow.
you guys saw in the lower thirds, Rangda's mask, we're going to be decreasing the damage taken. Lono's mask, we're going to be increasing the protections and health. And then Boomba's mask and Messenger's mask, we're going to be removing them from the game while we take a little bit of time to kind of look and see what direction we want to go into it.
Oh, fair enough.
Next up on items, we've got Stone of Binding. Small nerf here. This item is now going to provide 10 MP5. Clumsy, what's happening with Stone of Binding?
Oh, wow.
It's
That's
a small
good.
buff here. Stone of Binding's been one that's been pretty good before in the past, and we had some, alterations on it before.
It makes sense as well.
It's kind of fallen out of favor a little bit. It's a cheap item for supports, and we wanted
to
move
myself up.
Give it a little bit of injection of some MP5, so you can pick it up and use your abilities a little bit more often. It's something that just a little bit more variability in the different support item builds. That's pretty much it.
Cool. All right, last up for items, we've got tank shoes for both magical and physical, reinforced shoes and reinforced greaves. We're going to be increasing the health from 100 to 150. What's going on with tank shoes, Pon?
I already like them right now, honestly.
It's just a place that we felt like we could really kind of bring tanks up if we needed to. We've been watching really closely the tankiness stat, how people feel, power, like how many characters are dying on average every game. And we felt like this was a safe way to bring up tanks and more like tanky.
It's quite a lot for the boots.
Supports. That was directly related to them and didn't have any cascading impacts on maybe like a hunter picking these up or an assassin picking these up. They're still likely to pick up the shoes that they want, whereas tanks can have.
You say that. Wait for my reinforced.
All right, that wraps it up for items, guys.
Thor.
Let's talk about gods. Before we get into it, kind of coming off of mid-season, our direction for going into the next update is we just kind of looked at a lot of lower performing gods after mid-season drop, especially the tanks, the warriors and guardians, and just kind of looking at their win rates and seeing who needed some love. And that's kind of the direction you'll see and kind of the theme that you'll see as we go through these balance changes. So we'll start off with Achilles. He's going to be seeing a buff here. We're going to be increasing the base damage on Shield of Achilles.
That's actually unexpected. I didn't see him that weak.
There's a few warriors that have been negatively impacted by the different changes of soul lane over time. You'll see a few of them come up in this patch, especially the ones that were very, very good with Gladiator Shield. Spoilers, not King Arthur on here, but King Arthur has a lot of other considerations. But we were looking at the stats. We were seeing which ones were affected pretty heavily. And this is largely based off our early feedback that we've kind of gathered.
I feel like Achilles could do well with Soul Eater.
Season 7 mid-season.
I guess it's getting
there's
enough
still
too.
a lot really shaking up, and so we felt like these were the confident ones we could go for.
Yeah, I can kind of move myself down a bit.
Cool. All right, next up for gods, we've got Athena, Defender of Olympus. We're going to be increasing the damage mitigation given to targeted allies. Clumsy, what's happening with Athena?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a buff here on, one thing that allows you to help the teammates out a little bit more. Athena always has a lot of variability between the casual play and the pro scene, and I think this buff isn't going to really hurt the pro scene almost at all, I think, and it'll just going to feel a lot better when you actually can use this ultimate in good scenarios, and you're rewarded.
I didn't think she needed a buff, but I also don't think that buff is bad at all. So
All
fine
right,
with
next
it.
up, we've got Awilix, a god who's been kind of the talk of the town.
I'm internally screaming, but I can't
I've seen
scream.
a lot of conversation about
Because
her.
it's the middle of the night.
She's going to be seeing a good amount of love here.
Yes.
So first up,
That's what I was talking about.
Increasing her base mana and her MP5 per level. Feather Step, we're going to be increasing the base damage. And probably our biggest
revert.
Change,
it's a revert,
Summon
guys.
A few points here. Decreasing the mana cost, increasing the strafe speed while on Suku, and we also fixed an issue where the ability would go on cooldown if it was interrupted. Pon, I'll let you take it away.
The skipping of all the cool stuff.
Awilix was one of the junglers that didn't really benefit a lot from the new itemization, and with the harder difficulty of the jungle camps, was often kind of forced to use more and more abilities. And when you're also managing running around on Suku and trying to use that to also leverage your clear speed, she just ended up falling behind. We saw her just overall not really succeed with the mid-season changes. So we're giving her a bit more control on her mana. We're giving Featherstep some more some more power so that you can clear a bit more effectively,
early damage,
as well as just making Suku more usable in general. So these will just help Awilix players kind of get off the ground and also have mana when needed to actually gank.
Cool. All right, moving right along, we've got another Guardian on the list, Bacchus, and we're going to see Belch of the Gods increasing the base damage on this ability. And I'll start with
the best patch.
Here.
Yeah,
we don't even need Tsukiyomi.
Bacchus when we gave him the ability to chug, his drink at level 0 or right off the start of the game, and from that there was a couple of cascading effects. Like people started picking him up immediately and trying him out everywhere. And Bacchus has already been good in non-conquest game modes, so we had to address him a little bit. In fact, this buff that we're doing here is revert to one of the nerfs we did because we reacted pretty heavily to all those different changes, and now we're coming back and giving him a little bit more power in a way that we think will mostly only affect Conquest and not hopefully the other game modes as much.
Cool. All right, I've got another assassin for Ponfon. Bastet, Pounce, we're going to be increasing the physical power scaling from 90% to 100%.
She needs it.
Yeah, so Bastet had a rework where her ultimate was more focused on using it in teamfight and getting a lot of heavy damage out effectively. We saw that when she first shipped, she was considered very powerful, so we did a few nerfs. After things have kind of resolved, we've seen her kind of like begin to struggle again. So we think the nerfs were maybe a bit too intense. Giving some extra power scaling to Pounce just lets her engage more directly, especially in the late game, and have a bit more lethality when it comes down to like actually fighting.
All right, next up on the list, we've got Kabrakan. Seismic Crush. This ability is the stun on it will no longer suffer from diminishing returns. And then Tremor. Tremor is now going to pull minions towards Kabrakan rather than trembling them. And then we also fixed an issue where this ability would sometimes get canceled early. I'll let Clumsy take it.
Let Pawn take this one.
Yeah, I have a little bit more insight, especially to the bug. So Kabrakan's kind of always been this guardian that's more of a bruiser. Supporting with him was always difficult. We wanted to give him a few buffs in ways that we felt would help that kind of role overall. Because again, Fat Loki is Fat Loki. So give him some more like a support role if he wants to flex into it. The non-diminishing return on the stun will just make it so that you're more reliable and there's more synergy with your team. There's not so much like inherent counterplay with trying to actually set up a stun, as well as the tremor change means that you can now actually group up minions effectively. So maybe your hunter that maybe has only like,
but it's so inconsistent with everything else in the game.
Have them grouped up and hit the whole wave, which brings a whole bunch of utility to the Conquest support. And then the bug was we made the tremors more responsive, but that also meant that if you double hit it, you would just immediately cancel it. And so now there's a small window where you can't double hit it to cancel it.
So what does that mean? Like, does it mean that it doesn't? Isn't affected, or it doesn't affect either?
Coming up, and then range.
That's a huge difference.
The cooldown from 18
if you're going Seismic Crush into Refraction Shield.
Yeah, during our pass for midseason, we touched a lot of warrior itemization, and then we had a look and see all the different warriors like we talked about for Achilles. Chalk was not really performing overly well, even with the buff we gave him before for his ultimate, which we thought would be a big hit. But we had to look at what we could do for Chalk, and we wanted to give him a small change in Rain Dance being sustainability, something we know will be good. And 18 seconds is pretty long for an ability like that, even with this passive. So we decided to just bump that a little bit, and we think this will be a good quality of life for Chalk players.
Fair enough.
Yes, Chalk mid incoming next patch.
Don't know if we really need more heal in the game.
Next up on the list, we've got Kakulin. We're going to be making a buff to Barb Spear and Ground Slam. We're going to be decreasing the cooldown from 16 to 12 down to 15 to 11. So 1 second at all ranks.
Yeah, Kakulin has the ability to proc Gladiator Shield a whole bunch, and now with that gone, he's feeling it pretty heavily. We just want to make sure that he had access to these cooldowns so he could poke pretty
he's just a jungler.
And then also bring that into late game a bit more. We saw him struggle in particular with the Gladiator Shield change, so a bit of love there.
All right, second to last god here, we've got Isis up next. Spirit Ball, we're going to be decreasing the cooldown from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. And I'll let Clumsy take it.
That's a shot.
Man, we did some changes to Isis. This is very similar, I feel like, to before. We did a lot of changes to Isis. Oh boy, a lot of changes. And she got really, really good. And then we did back-to-back nerfs constantly. I mean, people were asking for them. We know SPL and casual players alike. We were seeing her strength. But after the results of those, I think she's bottom 3 gods of the game completely.
Ouch.
And I think we even did one reverted change to her wing gust as well. But we're gonna give her a little bit more love. She deserves it right now. Believe me, she needs a little bit more for being bottom 3. So we think this will be okay.
Yep.
All right.
10 seconds.
Last up for God.
6 seconds of CR.
Judgment Tether, we're going to be increasing the damage reduction from 10 to 30% up to 15 to 35%. And I'll let Pon take it away for our last one.
Oh, I was like,
if you copy paste the statement from Kakulin, it pretty much mirrors here. He's a character that could really spam those like on trigger effects. And with those gone, he's lost a little bit of his oomph. Rather than increasing his already strong early game, we just want to bring his late game a bit more in line, make up for some of the sustaining loss in the utility that he uniquely brings with that Judgment Tether.
All right, that wraps it up for balance. We're almost to Tsukiyomi, but we've got some pretty cool skins that we want to show off to you guys first. We'll kick it off with the next
I don't
installment
even
of the New
care.
Moon
I
event,
just want to see
our
Tsukiyomi.
bundle 3, and the first skin that we want to show off is Labyrinth Keeper Heimdallr, and he is taking on the
That's a cool
infamous
name, though.
Minotaur from Greek mythology, and another Pantheon crossover skin.
Ooh.
And how scary is he, guys?
Okay, he does look very
Oh,
cool.
that's so cool. I actually hadn't seen this at all yet. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
this is really awesome.
I dig it.
I love the mixture of like the Minotaur with like some of his like runic writing. Like that's just cool.
Oh yeah.
I like these like mythology-inspired
Let's go ahead and
skins,
take a look at the
Close
model
up.
and listen to the voice pack.
like these crossover skins. So
How many more wish to challenge the beast of the gods?
Definitely.
That's really
Super
cool.
creepy.
I'm a
I
big
love
fan
the
of this one.
additional details like you were talking about, Pawn, on the horn. You can see some of the ornate drawings that are traditional in Greek mythology there. But this one is coming up in the New Moon event, and then we've got Wild Style Pele, the next up in the third bundle from this event. And this one is more in line with some of our street style skins that we've done in the past, and with a focus on like graffiti, and the colors
Another
on this
Pele
one are
skin.
super awesome, right, Clumsy?
Yeah, I mean, frequently we get like comments on it like, oh, they must not, you know, they must have seen some of these skins before, depending on the developers. But like, no, I haven't even seen this one before. This is really cool. I'm excited
I want
to
to see
what
the
it looks like in
effects
game,
on that one.
actually.
Yeah,
That's gonna be the
I'm
big
definitely super
question.
hyped to see what it looks like in game.
Like
So let's look at the
graffiti-
model and take a listen to the
Graffiti
voice
when
pack.
she walks around or something.
Hey,
Win a
let
3.
me show you around town. Take you to some of my pieces.
I definitely love the weapons there. She's got like the spray paint guns. That's super awesome.
Yeah,
There's
they're
got to be
all-
some really really cool particle effects. Like the art team, like whenever we give them like inky or paint, like they get to do some.
I
Really
know
cool
people
stuff.
are gonna talk about her thighs, but like I don't know,
right? It
man.
reminds me of like the wall on like the street.
It's
style
not- it's
door
not
skin.
bad,
I
but it's
wonder
not
if
like-
she did all the graffiti with all the.
Wait, her
different
old
paints.
cut
That's
looks super cool with the particle effects though.
All right, the last skin from the New Moon event that we want to show off today is actually the final reward from the New Moon event. If you guys buy all, you'll be able to unlock this skin as soon as the patch drops on August 11th. You've got Angelic Archon Yamoja, and this one is
Oh
super
my-
cool. Look at that. Look at that,
Holy
guys. It's awesome.
Yo, this
That's-
card art is awesome. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That
is
is
amazing.
sick.
I know, and it looks super cool. And we're actually going to be able to show this off in game. But first off,
Yep.
let's look at the model and take a listen to the voice pack.
That is so cool.
See an unjust world, you
Wait, what?
must be willing to fight for the chance to make it right.
I mean, I expected more.
I
This is like
love
this is
all
a tier
these
5.
skins.
What?
Probably my favorite thing is her floating things on her side. I love the way that we treat them on all of her different skins.
The card art was so sick, but this is it's still a cool skin. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the same.
So I believe we'll be able to go in game here.
What about the
in just
wings
a
and the sword?
second.
Is that all happening in game?
Sweet.
Once we're good, I'll be ready to drive.
All right, cool. There we
Let's
go.
see.
I'll kind of run through all the different abilities.
Yep, let's go ahead and fire off some of the abilities here.
Ooh.
Oh, that looks so cool.
Oh, those are so neat. We got
Effects are
two.
very nice.
This works
Let me
so well.
I like the
Let
shots
me
that
go
are
get an ally.
like
Use
in a
my
pun.
my portals a little bit.
I actually
Oh
love those
man, the
mini-
2 looks awesome.
Ignore all the dancing Odins. That'll be explained later.
Yeah.
But the
And of course, the ultimate.
okay.
That's awesome.
Wait, did she just no? I'm still waiting for those wings and the sword.
Oh man, the clouds.
Wow, that ultimate is
Oh my God,
crazy.
the
Look
ultimate
at the
is
swords
cool.
that come down. That's nuts.
The swords coming in consecutively, that's really cool.
Wait, is that Nemesis sword?
I
Is it
love
literally
the
just
way
Nemesis
it's
sword?
It's like the clouds instead of the water. That's
I
super
am so
cool.
sure that's Nemesis sword.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I know.
I
Art
think she
team
kinda
definitely
gets
killed it,
wings.
from visual
She kinda
effects
gets
to
wings.
model. Voice pack is
Oh,
amazing.
she gets like
Definitely looking forward
little
to
wings
that.
and stuff.
I still
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
when
card art
she-
better than the in-game
Yeah,
stuff
so when
though.
she ults,
Oh,
she
that's
gets
awesome.
the kind of like
It's like
wings.
ethereal wings. Yeah.
And then I also noticed that when she threes, she
She has
gets
like actual wings in the
kinda
card
like-
art, not just
kinda
ethereal.
like
There,
feather
look at that.
wings.
Yeah, she
That's
gets.
so cool.
That's awesome.
Comparing it right
There's a
now.
lot of like really small touches
Hmm.
here that like stand out once you like pay attention.
For sure. But yep, This is the final reward in the New Moon event, so if you guys want the skin, if you get all 4 bundles that are a part of the event, or if you buy all, you'll be able to unlock this skin as soon as it drops when the patch goes live. But we got a couple more skins that we want to show off. The next one, we've got Cool Cat on her, and this is another one. I have to give a shout out to Buns. This is another one in the Smite Tropics.
SMITE.
And on her, he's got a lot of fandoms. I see a switch in the background. It looks like he's working on a cosplay. Clumsy, what do you think he's working on?
What is he putting together? He's got a makeshift weapon, I believe, that he's actually working on right there.
Yep.
I know, that would be awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the model and listen to the voice pack.
Beware the shifting senpai!
Oh god, what?
Beware the shifting senpai. That is amazing.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Oh man, he's got like the chibi thought.
Delete this.
You can just tell he is ready to hit the anime con. He's got his fit ready.
I don't even.
Cosplay spear.
This is like a double themed skin.
I know, right? This is amazing.
A cosplaying
shout out to Anna Buns for the amazing work on
character
this.
that's
and the splash art.
humanized
So
from
shout-outs
its
to her.
other form.
That's
That's I don't even know.
We've got one
What?
more skin for you guys. We've got Raven the Morrigan and Raven with an E. I have to let you guys know just to match the aesthetic here. Morrigan takes on kind of like the tech spin. She's a hacker, and I believe
think he
those
meant
aren't
Raven
clones,
with an
those are
I.
holograms on her side
Yep.
here.
Those are
Wait,
so
that means the real
cool.
one's on the left because the middle
Could
one
be
is
cool
regular.
depending on how it is
Holograms.
executed in game.
Yeah, even in the
Yeah,
splash.
yeah,
art,
that's
you can
detail there. Yeah.
I know,
Love it.
right? She's super tricky. Well, let's go ahead
Put
and
it
take
like
a
a
look
normal
at the
style
model
better.
here and listen to the voice pack.
Systems are primed and coroutines has been loaded. All right, girls, let's project some chaos.
This one's super awesome. I love the colors. It's got almost a cyberpunk feel to it.
I like this a lot.
What do you mean
Project some chaos,
almost?
that's a good line, too.
Yes,
I know, right? Kind of hinting
welcome.
towards the holograms.
Nice. Was that
The
you?
skin started off
Pawn wrote
stronger.
this. Good job, Pawn, on the voice pack. Well, that wraps it up for all of the skins that are coming your way in the God of the Moon update. But we've got the big reveal of our
Yes.
newest god,
Yes,
Tsukiyomi,
yes.
the next assassin coming to Smite. We'll be right back on the other side of this trailer.
What? Oh, watch the trailer again. And we can watch this trailer again. I'm so down to watch this trailer again. This is a good trailer. I'll watch this trailer many times. Let's talk about the Awilix Buff again. Because that's really sick. She's actually going back to her old early game state. And she's getting tons of MP5 so she can actually sustain her mana in the jungle without constantly running out of it and buying mana pots compared to everyone else. I think that's so cool. It's not exactly the changes that I was asking for, but it's actually better because I didn't think they would do the buff on the 2 again. I thought they never touched that again.
Oh man, every time I see that trailer, I just get so hyped, and I am so ready to start breaking down this god because I was telling Pawn earlier, he's probably going to be my next main here. So let's kick it off.
Yeah.
Pawn, who is Tsukiyomi? I know you're taking point on this new god. Who is Tsukiyomi in lore, and how is it going to fit into Smite?
So Tsukiyomi is really interesting because there's not too much mythology actually about him. He has one major story and a lot of different ways to kind of interpret what that story means. Overall, his main story is that he is the moon god along with the sun god Amaterasu. Amaterasu sends him off to a dinner date with Ukimochi, who is the food goddess, and she makes food by kind of like in kind of gross ways by modern standards. And Tsukiyomi, upon finding this out, is so horrified and thinks it's so disrespectful that he just kills her on sight, which causes a rift between him and Amaterasu. Amaterasu like, I sent you on a date and you kill the host? Like, what? And so obviously there's some strife there, but that's his main story, and we really took that to mean that he is the kind of embodiment of order, of discipline, of respect, and we wanted to really highlight that in his personality, where his whole focus and his focus in the Smite lore is really that he is here to restore order, his order. He believes that there's a very specific way to be handling these things, and there's also people that need to be punished for the way they've treated him in the past. So he's taking this opportunity to kind of go along with that lines.
All right. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I am about ready to see Tsukiyomi in game. So I think, Pawn, you're going to be our driver for today.
Yep.
So I know we're getting things set up, but I am super excited. Once we get in game, Pawn, feel free to show them your. Oh, that's the card art. We showed
so
this
cool.
off on social media.
We teased this
I
one
love
off, right? People were crazy.
I know, right? The glaive, the tonfa, the bladed tonfa, another highlight of his kit that we'll talk about a little bit later, but looking super cool. All right, Pawn, show him your ninja way. Go through the abilities here.
Oh, the walk animation alone. Yes. Oh, the 3 has the sickle.
I go fast.
Yes, the ultimate is exactly what I thought it would be.
This is so good.
I knew it, and I love it.
Oh, it's like the finishing move that, you know, the fight is over whenever he cranks that ultimate ability. That's super cool. All right, let's go ahead and get right into the abilities, because that was a lot. But we have got the ninja info cards to break down the abilities. Let's start off with the passive. Shingetsu and Mangetsu. Pon, what's going on with the passive?
Yep, so his blades aren't just there for show. They actually are named and kind of represent different powers of the moon. Shingetsu is on the left, Mangetsu is on the right. And you'll see that when I actually hit with them, see how they're kind of glowing now? This means that they're empowered. Shingetsu kind of represents the chaos and uncertainty of night. And so when this weapon is augmented and glowing, it actually cleaves. So you'll be able to see here I do some extra damage.
The other one heals,
and it also restores some mana. When Mangetsu is empowered, it represents kind of like the illuminating nature of light, the kind of like piercing nature of light. And so it actually does bonus damage as well as restore some health. So you want to kind of get in there.
So that leak kit was not completely wrong.
You get further reward.
That one regard, it was right.
Just want to confirm with you, Pon. Tsukiyomi is definitely going to be. He's an assassin, right?
Yes, he is an assassin. I should have mentioned that earlier. He is definitely an assassin. You'll find good success with him in the jungle and maybe in the soul lane.
For sure. And the thing about assassins and ninjas have a whole arsenal of tools that they use. So let's talk about the shuriken. And ability 1 is the Dark Moon Shuriken. What's going on with ability 1?
So ability 1 is Dark Moon Shuriken. He actually uses Shingetsu to kind of conjure it forward. It glows, and from the smoke of the weapon comes out the shuriken. You can see that you'll throw it out. So you can see the kind of shape of it. But when you hit a target, it sticks to them, and if you walk near them, you retrieve it. So you actually throw your shuriken, get in melee range of someone, pick it back up, and throw it again. The cooldown gets reduced by 40%. You'll also notice that each time I fired this ability, I have this new extra targeter. This is the single single-use ranged attack. Your 1 and your 3 both do this. So after you use your 1, use it whether you hit or not, you get this extra ranged attack from the weapon. And this one, since it's Shingetsu's, will actually steal movement speed from your target. So when you hit someone with it, you can see that Odin's going slower, and I'm actually moving faster now.
Nice.
That's super cool.
Oh my god.
So just to confirm,
that is actually super strong.
And then his next basic attack is kind of empowered in his range.
Doesn't need that much mobility then. Doesn't need the blink then.
Nice. All right, let's move on to the second ability and his.
Or you use blink first and do that then.
The Kusarigama. What's going on with this one?
Yeah, so for those who aren't familiar with the weapon, it's a kind of disarming weapon, which you'll see what it does. He actually turns his blades into the Kusarigama and swings it around him. You'll note that it has a left, right, and center targeter. Hits the left, the right, and then the center.
Oh, that's the 3 hits.
If you hit with the left and right, it'll actually disarm the target that you hit. And if you hit with the center final hit, it will do more damage and stun the target. So you can really use this to kind of get around, disarm the enemy hunter, and then stun the priority target if you need to. Also, if you're in the middle of like a team fight, you can hit people and kind of use this as a defensive tool so that they can't hit you back.
Super cool.
So you turn your camera quickly so you hit all 3 hits, I guess.
Here. So hit on the both sides. Is it only a disarm on the left side?
Disarm on the left, right, and then center is stun.
Awesome.
I really like the effect as well.
All right, let's go on to ability number 3, Silver Moon Caltrops. What's going on with this one? New targeter shape, first of all.
So yeah, we have a crescent shape. It's really neat.
It's huge, by the way.
So in this one, the theming is again kind of like calling upon like the nature of like night and like what kind of lights up the sky. So he holds Mangetsu Loft, and it kind of explodes into a shower of stars that fall to the ground as caltrops. You can see here that when enemies walk into it, if they step over it, they actually are slowed and take some damage. So this happens on deploy as well as when they walk through it. And then just like my first ability, I get this extra range single target attack. This ranged attack will actually deal bonus true damage. I had to sneak true damage in there somewhere. So it actually does 5 plus like 40% physical power scaling as true damage.
Bonus
so
damage in his basics, bonus true damage, 2 slows, and a stun. That's a lot.
And what's important to note here is if I make the enemy god stop moving, if I cast this ability, they don't take damage if they don't move.
Oh.
They only take damage if you move on this. So if you get trapped in this and you realize you're not in danger, it might be best not to continue stepping your feet onto the caltrops. Just a little unique touch to this ability.
That's super cool and thematic. All right, I think it's time for the big one, the ultimate ability, Piercing Moonlight. Pawn, can you please just fire it one more time and talk to me about what it does?
Yep, so you can see here that when I ult, I kind of like become this being of pure moonlight, and I fire these 4 projectiles, like basically giant laser beams that travel super fast. For every single target that I hit, they become marked, and I will dash through them in the sequence that I hit them. So you'll see here if I hit these 3 Odins over here, and then cast to the left, I dash through all these first, and then I go to the other targets. I can hit them in any order, and I can have up to 12 targets that I can dash through. So you can see on these Odins over here where they're all kind of in a nice line, I only actually hit 3 of them. Stopped at 3, but I get to dash through them for 12 unique strikes.
Not really a good escape though, it seems, because you land next to the enemy.
Where your last target was, so you got to be a little bit careful. We've had a few playtests where someone's ulted me while I was playing them, and I just carried them back to my tower. So you got to be a little careful when you use it. But if you play the kind of range poke style that he's really good at, if you keep your distance, find really key opportunities to go in, and then use your ultimate as like the finisher, or a really good way to find someone that's out of position, you can do a lot of damage with this. Hitting the same target multiple times is quite a bit. It's also important to note that no matter how far away they get, you will dash to them. So in situations where someone tries to use a movement ability, you will follow them and hit them. So especially in some chaotic fights, you get some crazy distance going on this.
Yeah, because
like you were saying, imagine some potential plays. Sorry, go ahead, Clumsy.
It's all about that range poking, right? Because from this kit, other than the ult, you don't actually have any initiation. You don't have a normal movement ability. It's all about stealing movement ability and getting closer, and then finally using that ulti, right?
Yeah, when you're generally playing him, you're doing things like casting out your caltrops to disorient your opponents, using your followed range attacks to really whittle down their health, and you're just really looking for that key opportunity to go in with your ultimate. And when you pull it off, man, does it feel satisfying.
What would you say is recommended like ability order would be?
I tend to max the 1, just because it's pretty good reliable poke. Its base damage is pretty good. It's good for clearing things. And then after that, I've gone back and forth on maxing the 3 and the 2. If I feel like I can get in melee range and use the Kusarigama more effectively, then I level it. If I feel like I need to stay range because they have a lot of CC to potentially lock me down, I'll use the caltrops.
If the 3 increase the true damage, then it might be worth maxing the 3.
For sure. And of course, Tsukiyomi is an assassin, so of course he's going to be in the jungle role. Do you see any potential of him flexing anywhere else, or no?
The solo has some interesting use cases where you can use the 1 and get the cooldown back really quickly, but the mana costs are a bit prohibitive. We'll probably see people experiment in the solo lane, but I expect him to stick pretty closely to the jungle.
Cool.
And also,
well,
I have
anything else? Sorry, go ahead, Pon.
Yes, the art team. The art team, they had this kind of like this idea of like super awesome ninja, regal, royal, proper, precise. There's a lot of like buzzwords that were thrown around, and they did a really good job at like consolidating the art style, really making this character look so cool.
I really like how it looks.
The ultimate had a lot of stuff going on with it to make sure that it looked really cool as you dash around the map. Every single part of him had a lot of like tweaks that need to happen during development, and so I just want to make sure the art team has proper shout-outs, including this is a ninja run, and it looks cool. He's doing the ninja run.
All right, so that means the next Area 51 raid, we all cosplay Tsukiyomi, right?
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Well, that is Tsukiyomi.
I really wonder what basic attacks would mean for him,
like
model here, how good he'll be in that regard.
To show
with
you
his
guys
extra effects.
A closer look at what his in-game models look like, as well as the recolors. So this is the base here. Got some nice ninja flips going on. And again, shout out to the entire art team. We've got the next one up. We've got a recolor coming, and it's Lunar Eclipse Tsukiyomi, I believe, and we'll have the card art in just a second.
It's so cool. All his recolor spoilers are super cool.
I know. So I believe we've got a voice pack line to go along with this one as well. So we'll take a look at it in game.
Oh, I thought we were gonna see it in games. Oh yeah, we do.
Miscreants. They trample order, spitting in the face of proper decorum. I will not sully the moon to shine on them any longer.
I think that recolor is one with the black hair.
Definitely loving this recolor.
Night, my blades can sense your arrogance.
So edgy. Definitely loving the kind of like the dark side of the moon with the recolor. And this is
Speaking
the
of edgy.
Ascended recolor. So you guys will be able to get this
That's
one with
literally the
Season
World of
Pass
Warcraft
2020.
skin.
This is probably my favorite one out of the bunch. So we'll go ahead and
The
take a
Blood
look at
Elf
this one
skin.
in game as well. But the black and red, of course, goes right alongside classic ninja vibes, and it's super.
Oh, I thought they were gonna change his
And something that's really
blade
cool
colors.
with these weapons is because they have that kind of contrasting style. These skins, as well as the legendary and golden skins, one weapon is basically like pure gold, and the other one is basically the contrasting color. So on the default golden one, it's like kind of like blue. Yeah, here we go.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
these-
something I want to see.
It's just you get some really cool flavor with these weapons. I'm a
If they have
huge
the
fan.
matching glow, that would be so cool.
Yeah, this one looks
Like a
super
black
awesome.
glow
And,
on
oh
the
yeah, I can definitely
legendary.
see the blue weapon in the front and the foreground, and then the gold weapon in the back. Oh, that's super awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's so
That's a
cool.
lot of good potential. I
Black
like
and
that.
gold.
Oh my god, I want to
I've
see the
just been
effects.
fangirling through his whole development, and so it's not gonna stop.
I just want to see the effects. I want to see if it.
definitely.
Oh my god, the
and
diamond actually looks so good.
Oh, so good.
Not only
Yo,
diamond
that-
doesn't even
the
look that
right
good, but
side
this one
weapon
looks so
almost
good.
Looks semi-translucent on that one. That one's.
I wonder
super
who's gonna be the
awesome.
first to actually get him to rank 10.
I know, right? We'll have to see. I wonder if there's a way that we can figure it out and like hit him with like a ninja prize or something like that. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
And of course, the golden one here for you guys.
Gonna be hard to get
Super
into Mastery
cool.
10 because
All right,
everyone's
Pon,
gonna be
Clumsy,
playing him.
Before we sign off here, what's your kind of favorite thing about Tsukiyomi and the process about getting him into the game? And I'll start with Pon.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about him was really going through those early concepting brainstorms where we kind of settled on along the core themes that we wanted to go with it, as well as the weapons, and just seeing the art team kind of run with that and make something really, really cool. It's always crazy like coming to a meeting and like they're like, here we have this, and it's like that's just incredible. So I think that was my favorite part about Tsukiyomi.
For sure. What about you, Clumsy?
My favorite part was definitely playtesting. We got to try him out quite a bit in the development phase, and man, he's right my kind of assassin, right? He
Look
goes
at
in
the
with
cat
all
top.
his different types of attacks, his range basic attacks,
You
after
notice
following
that?
with his 1 and his 3, and then finally going in with that ulti to do a flashy kill on someone. Yeah, definitely my playstyle.
For sure. And I just want to give a shout out to the entire team. Design, art, programming, we're all still working from home, and being able to do this is absolutely amazing. And I'm super excited to play Tsukiyomi with all of you guys on PTS, which is targeted for Friday. So be sure to keep an eye out on Smite Games social media channels. We'll be sure to let you guys know when it's up and ready to go for you guys. But that wraps it up for the show. Pon, Clumsy, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. And guys, thanks so much for tuning in and hanging out. We will see you guys next time.
And I also thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, feel sub button and ring the bell so you get notified of all the other Tsukiyomi stuff that's coming up, including the PTS stuff, of course. And yeah, on that, see you for the next one in just a bit because I'm going to make the patch notes review right after this anyways. Duke Sloth, out.